welcome all of you in online lecture series of software engineering and project management. So we are going to discuss about the process models that are used in the software development process. Okay, so what is a process model? The process model is nothing but a predefined model that is used to design any software. So for designing any software, that time we have to select any one of these models. So last time we have studied the classification of these models. So the process model having different modules. The selection of process model is totally depends on your project. Okay. We will select the appropriate model for the software development process. So as in last lecture we studied about the uh, waterfall process model. So waterfall process model is a systematic approach for designing any software. So uh, it is a linear approach for the software development. So here all the process or all the blocks here linearly can be carried out. So along with the some advantages, the waterfall model having some disadvantages also, because this type of process will require a very large amount of time for designing purpose, because in this case here all the blocks are depends on the previous stage. Okay, the next stages depend on the previous stage, so that's why the next stage will have to wait till and until the previous process is completed. Now the next model is a V model. Okay, next type model is V model. Now in this model there are two different ways by which we can develop a software. So if you see towards the diagram, then the one direction is like from top to bottom, and other direction is from bottom to top. So the shape is like V, that's why the model is called as a V model. It is combination of linear approach that is used in waterfall model, as well as the non-linear approach also. So here the first path is from top to bottom. All these blocks here, whatever the blocks you have see here, all these blocks are arranged same as the that is arranged in a waterfall model. Here all the blocks is depends on the previous block. But if you go towards the second way, so here these blocks didn't depends on the previous stage. Okay, so here we will go backward through the any one of block. Okay, suppose for example here the first block in the V model, that is a requirement model. In this modeling, what we have to do, we have to take the requirement. Okay, we have to take the requirement from user. After getting the requirement, then we will create the architecture for that particular design. After that, component design. In component design we will decide the units. Okay, the whole software is divided into a different units, and that unit will be decided or implemented in the component design. And the next one is a code generation. In code generation, whatever the design we have implemented or whatever the logic we have implemented in the previous stage, that will be implemented by using the any one language. So the code generation is done. After the code generation, the unit testing is to be performed. So in unit testing, as we discussed that the whole software is divided into the different units. So these different units are separately tested, either they are working correctly or not. If any bugs or if any errors occur, then we will go through the again backward stage. Like here the arrow direction is shown towards what the component design and the code generation. Suppose if we found any bugs or any error in the unit testing block, then we will go backward to the component design, and in component design we will again rearrange the components, okay, of the software, so to remove the bugs. Okay, or either we can go from unit testing to the code generation block. In code generation block we will make changes in the particular code, so that to neglect the errors. Okay, next one is the integration testing. So in integration testing, the integration is tested. Integration means what? Now the whole project is divided into different units, and that units have to be interface with each other. Different units have to be connected to each other. So when the connection is done in between the different units of your software, that time the integration testing have to be performed. Okay, and if any bugs or if any errors are occur in this stage, then we will go again backward towards the architecture design or component design. So in architecture design we will rearrange the architecture of the software to remove the bugs, or we will rearrange the components to neglect or to remove the bugs in the integration part. After the integration testing, the next testing is a whole system testing. Okay, so first we will perform the unit testing, after that the integration testing, and if all are correct or all are bug free, then we will perform the system testing. So system testing is a overall system function testing is done in this block. So if any bugs or error is there in this testing, so we will go backward towards the requirement modeling or the architectural design. So the requirement modeling is again performed, or the rearranging the architectural design is used to remove the bugs in this that is occur in the system testing. After that the last testing is the acceptance testing. So in acceptance testing, acceptance of the your software is to be tested. If it is corrected, then we will go through towards the deployment stage. Otherwise we will again go backward towards the requirement modeling, and again we will start from the first stage. Okay, so this is all about what the V model. So now let us see some points regarding to the V models. So what are the advantages? Here what the progress goes in a very systematic way. Likewise we have seen that the one direction is from top to bottom, and from bottom to top. In top to bottom there is no feedback path is provided, means we cannot go from the next state to the previous state. But in the second path, means from bottom to top path, here we will go from the current path to the previous path. So it is a systematic way. Second, it is what the best suitable for small and medium size project. This type of model we will use for which type of project? For small project and medium size project. Testing start from the requirement phase. Okay, as we seen, if we have any bugs in the software, that time we will directly go towards the requirement stage. If the bugs in acceptance testing, that time we directly go towards what the testing, we will go towards what the requirement phase. And next advantage is it is easy to keep the track of progress. In this model it is very easy to track the progress of your development. Along with these advantages, the V model consists of some disadvantages also. So what are the disadvantages? So first disadvantages is what? It is not suitable for bigger and a complex project. Okay, it is not suitable for bigger and complex project. Then it is a good option if the requirement changes frequently. If the user requirements are changes continuously, then in that time it is a very good option. Then third one is, sorry, here if the user requirement changes frequently, then that time it is not a good option. Okay, it's what? Not a good option if the user requirements are changes frequently. Then the client see the only final project, not the intermediate modules. Now the disadvantages of the V model is what? The client directly see the last product that we have developed, and in intermediate stages what is going to be on, that is not visible part for the user. Okay. And last one is a no scope for the risk management. Okay, so these are the disadvantages of what? V model. Now next type of model is incremental process model. So now this model is somewhat faster than the previous models, because here the increments of your software is created separately, so that's why it is somewhat the faster than the previous model. So let us see the some key points of this process model. So this model helps to improve the limited set of customer requirements quickly and delivered to a customer. Okay, so this is used for the faster delivery of the software to the customer or client, but it is limited for the requirements. It is means in this model a predefined requirements have to be acceptable from the customer, then and then only we can use this model. So if the customer's requirements are limited, then we use this type of model for designing the software. Second, the modified and the remaining requirements are implemented step by step. If other requirements are there, then that requirements implemented step by step. The overall functionality are split to a smaller module, and then the modules are quickly developed and delivered. So that is the actual principle of this incremental process model. So this last point is actual principle. So here what, the overall functionalities are split to a smaller module, and then the modules are quickly developed and deliver. Okay, so what is the principle of this process model? So in this case, if we have any big software, that time that software will be divided into a different modules. Okay, suppose for example we have to design any new software, that time we will make modules of that software. Means suppose it consists of 5 functionality inside it, so all the functionalities will be divided. Okay, all functionalities will be divided into 5 parts. So these 5 parts will be separately designed, and after designing process is completed for each module, all these modules are integrated, then we will get our final product. Okay, so this is the actual or real principle of this incremental process model. So in incremental process model there are two types of model. The first one is the incremental model and the RAD model. The RAD model, it is a rapid action development model. So let us see the first model, that is a incremental model. So here you will see the diagram for the incremental model. Here the whole software, suppose for example here whole software are divided into a n modules. Here module is referred as a increment. Okay, so as you can see from the diagram, here increment, here you can see the increment #1, increment 2, up to the increment n. So the total project is divided into n modules, and these modules here we will refer as increments. So here n increments are there from increment 1 to increment n, and each increment will follow the process model of waterfall. Okay, each these increments is to be implemented by using the waterfall model. Okay, so if you see the block diagram of this increment first to second up to n, then all the blocks are same. Here you will see the first block is a communication, planning, modeling, analysis, design, construction, deployment, delivery. So all these blocks are same as that is used in what, waterfall model. So the basic principle of this incremental model is the waterfall model, because here for each increment we will use what, the waterfall model approach. Here also if you see the increment 2, the same blocks will be there, that is used in a waterfall model. Okay, so now the whole project is divided into n increments, and each increment follow the waterfall model procedure. Okay, so that's why if we divide the whole project into the n incremental, that time each increment required a small amount of time, and all the increments are simultaneously carried out, means all the increments will be simultaneously proceed. So that's why the time required for such types of model is smaller. Okay, so here you will see the key points of this model. The combines the elements of waterfall model in iterative manner. Okay, as I told you that the basic principle is what, the working of the waterfall model. So it combines the elements of waterfall model in iterative manner. Okay, assist the stakeholders to better understand what is to be built. So if we use this type of model, then it is easier to understand. Now next point is series of release called increment that progressively provides the more functionality. Okay, so what is this? So each increment consists of more functionalities than the previous increments. Likewise, suppose if we are getting the new updates of any software, that time the new update will consist of some more functionality than the previous one. Same here, each increments here we will also refer as a update of that particular software, or series of released. That is also called as a series of release or increments that progressively provides the more functionality. Suppose if we take the example of any Android application. Okay, when you update the application from the Play Store, that time the updated software consists of some more functionality than the previous one. So same here in this model, each increment consists of what, the more functionality. Here the example of word processing system is given. Next, first increment is a core product that is open for the customer to use. Okay, so the first update or first increment is the core product, because whenever we download any application first time, so that first application will be referred as what, the core product. So here also the first increment is core product, and after that whatever the increments are coming, that is what, the actual increasing functionality only. Okay, so the first increment is what, the core product. Early increments are stripes down the version of final products. Early increments stripes down the version of final product, means what, the newer increments or the newer updates, that is what, the newer functionality consists of the newer functionality of that particular software. Now let us see some advantages and the disadvantages of this model. So now the first advantages of this model is the model can be used with a small development team. Okay, if your development team is this model is used for what, a small development team, means minimum peoples are required for such types of model. Then the initial delivery of the product is faster, as we can see this type of model is for the faster delivery. So the initial delivery of product is faster. The customer can respond to the functionality after each increment. Customer responds the functionality after each increment, so that is also the advantages. Then disadvantages. Here the biggest disadvantages of this type of model is the cost of the final project may increase. Okay, in this case the final product cost is increased, because of in this case we have to create a number of what we can say update or a number of increased of any software. So that's why for each updation or each increment we require to perform all procedure or all the works that we have seen in the diagram. So as work is more, so the final cost is ultimately increased. After each increment, customer may demand a new requirement which may cause the problem to the existing system. Okay, suppose for example, if we create any update for a particular application, after creation of the first updation, and if the user will require another changes, that time it will cause the biggest problem, okay, in the designing process. So that is also the disadvantages of this model. It requires a clear and a complete planning before the system is broken into the increments. Okay, here users requirement is to be finalized before starting of these types of software model, because whenever we broke the whole software into the different module or different increments, that time we have to divide all these requirements into the different modules. If the requirements are not ready at the initial stage, so there may be the problem in performing or in creating the modules of software. So it is also a big disadvantages. Next model is rapid action development model, that is also in short referred as a RAD model. Okay, so let us see the some important points about this model. The rapid action development model, okay, the rapid action development model is a high speed adaptation of the waterfall model. Okay, here also the basic principle is waterfall model, but the RAD model is highest, it consists of the highest speed of process. So we will design any software fastly by using this model. Then initially activities start with the communication between the customer and development, sorry, in customer and developer. So initial activities start after the communication between customer and developer. Okay, so after communication we will get the actual requirement of user, and after getting the requirements of user, then we will start the activity. Then depending upon the requirements, the team are assigned work. Okay, whatever the requirement is given by the client or a user, then the work is assigned to the different teams. At last, work product of every team is integrated to form a product as a whole. Okay, lastly, whatever we have created different teams, the work of all the teams are combined together or integrated, and then we will form the final product as a whole. Okay, so now in RAD model, what actually done, so total work, whatever the work we have to perform in the software, that is divided into a different, that is divided into a different module, and these modules are given to the different teams. All the teams are simultaneously works on these modules. Okay, all teams are simultaneously works on these modules. So that's why the speed of operation is get increased, because all the modules are integrated or all the modules are designed simultaneously. That's why the time required is less. So as you can see in the diagram here, first initial stage will be start from the communication between the customer and the developer. After that, planning has to be done, and after planning, the next steps are modeling and construction. Okay, so modeling part is divided into the n modeling. So here as you can see, the team 1 will be assigned some part of modeling, team 2 again will assign some part of modeling, up to the team n will assign the some part of modeling. So if we divide the modeling part into the n number of teams, So all the teams are simultaneously work, and modeling part will be completed in a short period of time. Same, the next part is a construction. Construction part is also divided into these teams. Whole construction part of the project is divided into n parts, and all these n parts will be assigned with the n number of teams. So all these teams are again work on the construction part also. So the construction time required for this type of model will be less, and after construction part the project will be deployed, or it is delivered to the user. And after delivery the user give a feedback, and that is also again provided to the teams that are working on the project. So again let's consider the advantages and the disadvantages of this RAD model. So advantages is what the product can be developed within a short time period. Okay, so here the time required to design a whole product will be very less, because n number of teams are simultaneously working. Then increase reusability. Okay, here the possibility of, or here we will increase the reusability of the designed software. Then minimal code writing. Minimal code writing. Then resolve integration issue. Here integration issues are resolved. Then along with these advantages it consists of some disadvantages also. So what are the disadvantages? Sufficient manpower to create a team. So in this case we required a large manpower, because suppose if we create n modules, that time we required n number of teams also. So for each team we require a larger amount of manpower. All teams should work in parallel. Okay, as we can see, all team must have to simultaneously work, or have to be parallelly work, because if the teams are not working parallelly, or if any one of the team is lagging in the development process, then all remaining teams have to wait till and until that team work is to be finished. So that is also the disadvantages in RAD model. Next one, not appropriate when technical risk is high. This type of model is not appropriate whenever the technical risk is high. Okay, so only for, it is used only for a larger project, because for smaller project it is not feasible. Okay, because we require a larger manpowers, and ultimately the cost get increased as the number of peoples are larger. So for a small project we cannot use it, and it is only suitable for what, the large project. And next disadvantage is reduce scalability. Okay, here the scalability of the project is reduced, and the reduced features. So this is all about the RAD model. So now for this lecture we will stop here, and if you having any doubts regarding to this lecture, you can personally WhatsApp me, and we will discuss there. Again, if you like this lecture, then please like the video. Also, if you have not subscribed the channel, then subscribe it, so you will get the notification of new lectures when available on my channel. Okay, thank you.